Okay, in today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I find and I'm going to call as a new trend that's really going to blow up here. For you entrepreneurs that like to come up with new businesses, what I'm going to share with you in today's video, when you pair it with PPC campaigns, which I'm an expert in putting together and I'm using for this within this particular strategy, you can create a whole new business for yourself just using the instructions I'm going to give you here. It's not a turnkey, spoon feed you all the way through the actual ideas that you can use for your business, but these are real ideas that are working right now or have worked, and enough information for you to go right on out and should be an instant light bulb going on in your head. That's going to tell you, basically what business to pursue that's going to be just as successful for you, ultimately to get people coming to you by foot, literally by foot, to buy what products or services that you sell, or just to come talk to you if you're doing business to business sales, whatever. Sky is the limit with this one. So the topic of the video, walking directions campaign, how to build a local campaign that gets people walking to you. So I'm going to talk about how to use paid ads through pay-per-click, display advertising, pay-per-click ads through Google Display Network. Of course, could be done through Facebook ads or some other networks to get people to come to you and buy what you're selling. So anyway, as usual in my videos, I'm going to go through a quick list of things here that's going to tell you everything you need to know about this particular strategy, how it works, how to apply it to the business that you want to start, or maybe even to the business that you already have to pick up your sales even more. So it's pretty entertaining, but the first thing on the list is, where this concept, was derived from. So where was this concept derived from, in other words? And that is, and there's a video on YouTube actually as well that talk about surveillance capitalism. Some Jewish lady that wrote a book or two on it, and you want to watch it and go after this particular video, but she talks about footfall from how, basically the whole premise is surveillance capitalism. If you don't know what it is right now, it's basically Google buys data from a bunch of different companies. Let's say you have a small app like that helps women track their menstrual cycles. Is that, unethical as this is, or not ethical, or whatever? I'm just totally in the middle here. I'm not trying to cast judgment. It is what it is, so you could take it for what it is. But Google will buy that data, and so that now they could pair that data with the data that Google has on you from you being a logged-in user or even a non-logged-in user, and knows when your menstrual cycles are now. And the same thing goes with pretty much everything data-wise that they can get their hands on. Facebook, of course, does the same thing, even though there's some changes going on as of late with them that makes it a little harder for them to do, what I won't go into. But anyway, that particular, so the idea is that Google and Facebook, the reason why they're valued so much in terms of their stock price and so on and so forth, it's that they're in the business of predicting what people are actually going to do, which is what the surveillance capitalism is all about. And so they sell you what they know that people that are going to buy a product or service that you sell, so you can get in front of them. Essentially, that's how it works, what people are paying for. And Google has experimented with a game called Pokemon Go. You can also search that. But basically, it's a game, an app game, where you try to find Pokemon in the real world. And then so they get people in the real world to walk through parks and so on and so forth, with the idea that they could sell that prediction of where somebody's going to be at a certain time and date. And so companies could bid on it and determine whether or not that they want to bid on that information, whereas nobody else will get that information besides you. And so if you have like a McDonald's, they showed in that video that you will pay good money for that information because they could tell you ultimately where they're going to be. With the general idea being not just where they're going to be, but the app can manipulate people's actions and make sure that they go in front of a McDonald's. And that's actually what you're paying for in that case. So instead of just knowing what people are going to do before they do it through their own cognition and will, this is actually going to drive people literally to your business, which is kind of in general what we're going to talk about here, not exact way, but which they called in the video footfall. This is what this is called. So this is going to be a new trend. And so how do you actually create footfall to your business without having to do the literal like manipulation of tricking people to come to you, which I'm not, this is not what this is about, but footfall for your business to sell what you're selling in a literal local context, such as, let's say you're on the beach, you want to sell something to people that are on the beach, you have a bunch of seafood, you want to sell it. How do you get people that you've just collected your seafood to come to you and buy it that would buy it in an inexpensive or at least affordable way that your sales are going to pay for the cost of the product, cost of goods, if you will, in business terms. So anyway, that's what this concept was derived from, and I'm going to explain to you here in this video. Now, number two, getting into it. Lots of different business ideas you could develop from this. Hello, entrepreneurs. So here is where you're going to be able to get the business ideas. I'm going to give you examples of where this was actually used by myself, and to get ideas for your own little micro business or to apply this to your own business. It should be enough information for you to be able to take it one step further with your own business, your own set of skills or what you have access to. So rental equipment. With that, so imagine that this is a real application. You at the lake. There is a big lake next to where you live. Where I used to live in Iowa, there would be a big lake. You could rent kayaks and so on and so forth. And so I had the idea that why don't somebody that rents kayaks, they're selling them for so much because everybody knows where the kayaks are because that's what the park is running. What if I had a truck and I had a bunch of kayaks and I could somehow get the people to come to me and rent for me for basically the same price, which you're making like a 400% return on this, and then just stand there. And so that's where I got into doing this kind of stuff. And so it worked, not exactly for kayaks, but a different market and a different idea for different equipment that was being rented out. And so that's all you would need for that business. Literally, if we took that literal idea, is obviously some kayaks, a truck, and a PPC campaign. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a display advertising campaign that's hyper targeted to just people in and around the lake. And you could actually do that with Google ads, with Facebook ads, on the smallest targeting settings you have. And then the ad is going to say something like, hey, kayaks for rent. Maybe if they're already for rent at the clubhouse or whatever, you give them an incentive, just why to come to you. I'll let you come up with your own ideas there, whether you're, less price or we're going to give you this extra thing or we're close or whatever. So you get the general idea of how this stuff works, okay? So that's number one. Tickets. So for, back in the day, I'm old enough to remember you go to a football game, Iowa Hawkeyes football game, they have the scalpers out front saying, buy the ticket. And I'd say, hey, Dad, why is he doing that? So anyway, the Ticketmaster took over, which a lot of times people said that's Ticketmaster basically is scalping. In a way, if you want to think about it, it is, really. They're just buying all the tickets ahead of time, even though they have an arrangement with the sports event. So technically, it's not scalping at that point, but it's the same idea. I agree with that. But what if you had premier tickets that you could get access to? And I know people sell, as long as you own the tickets, you could sell them on eBay. And in that case, why not go to the event and people that are standing outside the football game, you have box seats and you could flip them for 20% more or something like that. You get the general gist of this. So that's another idea. The next thing would be takeout at airport. So this is actually something I saw at Starbucks doing. So even though I didn't do this one exactly myself, but like at an airport, okay, I'm busy, my flight's coming, the airport's huge. I don't want to walk clear to the other side of the airport to see if they have a Starbucks or where it's at or whatever. If I own a Starbucks or a business, another coffee shop, let's say, because they don't franchise, right? So I don't think so anyway. Then how do I get people to buy my coffee versus my competition or whatever? Just get more people to come to me. Oh, just have an ad similarly that shows up for anybody at the airport. And I know for a fact on Facebook you can actually target people just at the airport. I don't know about Google ads. I've never tried it there yet. But then Starbucks is already doing this, again, like I said, to where you could go onto their site and order it so that when you come in there, the coffee's ready, you don't have to waste time. That's why I put airports here. Not why it would work for airports, kind of the best, but it could work for anything. Like a pizza shop or whatever, but you have an ad that says, hey, I know you're getting on the flight soon. Order your Starbucks. Here's where we're at. You can have a little picture showing where we're at. If you click on this button, we'll give you literal walking directions to our place, and by the time you get here, your coffee will be ready. Right? So that's the concept there, pretty simple. The next thing on the list here is like food or water booths selling at the back of the truck. So this is kind of like the kayak example that I gave you a bit of earlier, but I just always remember at any kind of events, people selling water, where there's a whole bunch of people there, you could sell the water for like triple or quadruple again what it costs. And then what if you just had an app that said, hey, water sold here, click here to find out where I'm at. I mean, selling water, you could make a ton of money. That's just an idea. Obviously, you could, if there wasn't a lot of traditional food booths at a place, you could do that with food. Selling Subway sandwiches, whatever. So and then the next thing on the list, like Uber. So this gets into a little bit different way of doing it. So whereas these things are like, come to me, Uber has its own interesting thing where they get people to come to you as the buyer. So and I found open source apps that do this. So this is what I haven't done. I took it from the concept from Uber itself, but I did the research. You can actually get apps where you could have an ad that goes to a site, which on that site it shows basically that you could order, or even you don't have to show them a map. You could say, we could come to you, and the app knows if you download the app. You could have the ad get you to download the app, and when they download the app, then technically, because of this program, open source program that you're using, it's like Uber, where that person's at. They'll order a sandwich. You have somebody go deliver the sandwich, just say, stay put, just like the Uber app works. That'd be another business idea. So why are people just doing this with Uber? I know in like Africa, they're doing that with people selling all kinds of products. Here, they set up shop, I'm selling bread. Here's where I'm at, come to me. But then this is just a little bit of a variant in that you go to them, actually. So I think that would be huge for all kinds of stuff at different events. I mentioned here, you'll want to search for, by the way, is like an Uber clone app or open source app like Uber app clone, something like that is how I found it. And seafood at the beach. So I mentioned that a bit ago. If you had caught a whole bunch of seafood and you wanted to sell it right away instead of just taking it with you, just do that. Say, I'll come to you. We have crabs right here, crab legs, whatever. We're selling it for X amount of pound. Do you want any? If so, click yes. We'll come to you and you could pay us cash or whatever. Or take the payment online. I'll get into that in a minute. The logistics there. Now the last thing is the conferences / trade shows. Now this is also something that I did specifically because people all the time would say that we have a booth at the conference or whatever. We want more people to come to us there because we're paying, a lot of times $10,000 all in expenses to be able to have that booth. And then you have, employee costs and so on and so forth. So technically at a conference, what I would recommend here, which works, is say, come visit us. You can have, so people at the conference, you have a pop-up ad, display ad, in-app ad, or just an ad on a banner ad on any other website that you visit on your cell phone there. There's a picture of a hot chick there that says, hey, come talk to me. I'm at the booth. Here's where I'm at. If you want to see where I'm at, click this link here, and you'll see exactly how to get to my booth. It's a novel way. All the stuff in marketing that's not been done before is the stuff that works way better than what anybody else is getting for results. So if you're waiting for the time that it's normalized, what strategy you're using, there's no more return there for the most part. You always have to be on the cutting edge of stuff if you're going to get rich doing marketing and advertising, or if you're not rich already starting out to do it. For trade shows, so I like to go to car shows a lot, buy cars, look at cars. There's the cars. It's an auction, so the cars one by one are auctioned off, of course. And why not, if I'm selling a car, have an app show up? I haven't done this, but I would do it. That says, here, I have this particular car. It's a rare car. Here's why it's rare. If you want to pre-bid on this car or not wait for the actual auction, click here. Let me know how much you're willing to spend, and if it's higher than anybody else bids before the auction, we'll give it to you, so you don't have to wait. Or if you meet the reserve, you don't have to wait as well. There's some different variants to work there, but that would be an idea as well, just for trade shows itself, or an auction I mentioned there. But for a trade show, it'd be the same concept as a conference, of course. And so you could try whatever variants there I mentioned. So anyway, the third thing on my list, though, is how to actually do it. Now, the implementation, though, for the most part, is pretty simple. It's just a pop-up display ad on Facebook, or an in-app ad, or a banner ad on a website, like I said. And then it goes to just a simple one-page website that you're going to use as a landing page, and a custom website that you make just for this campaign. And then, so with that, how do you get it to where people can find you? Walking directions. So Google Maps by default, you can't see how you do it. I researched this a long time ago to find out how it is, but there's real-time Google location sharing. So there's a way to get a link. When you send a link to somebody, they click on it and it goes into Google Maps, gives them driving or walking directions. So Google already has the product free, ready to go. So why not do this stuff and exploit it when nobody else is doing it? And this is where things are going anyway. Anything that's going to streamline the buying process, the person who makes it the easiest for the buyer is going to automatically win. That's just how it is. Why not get out in front of it? Of course, on that landing page, you can do online reservation, as I mentioned, like kind of with the coffee example, to where they could pay when you get there. You could do online purchasing, where they could just pick it up, of course. And then for people who don't want to do all that complicated crap on their website they set up for this, you could do Square. So you could say you could pay with credit card or cash when you get there. In the Square app, of course, you just have a tablet. You give that to the person that comes and delivers, swipes the card. Then you don't have to have an online payment anything. So just throwing that out there in case you didn't already know about it. Most people do, but just throwing it out there again. So anyway, that's in general how to get people walking to you via means of having a PPC campaign. If you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. I have a lot of other videos just like this about PPC strategy in particular. You can go to guaranteedppc.com/blog and see step-by-step instructions on how to run a strategy just like this, the way that I do it for our guaranteed PPC firm that guarantees clients results. If you like to watch videos, of course, you can subscribe to this channel, and I'll have a video about every day come out that will talk you and teach you through the strategies I use for our clients here to guarantee the results. And so, if you have any questions about how to do any of this, get stuck at any point, leave a comment down below. Be glad to certainly comment on what you have questions about, help you through it. And but I hope you appreciated the information, and good luck with setting up your get customers to walk to you campaign set up for yourself and have success with it.